You're listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast with your hosts, Emily
and Jason. Wow, we just, we keep camping. We need to stop eventually.
Still here. It's still raining. We've entered the leg of our journey.
Oh,
Honk!
geese. Honk.
Honk!
I saw him over there. We still honk.
We have entered the leg of our journey that we now must wear hats because we have no access to a shower, no access to hot water.
What's the toilet situation we have? What's it called?
A luggable loo.
Luggable loo.
AKA a 5-gallon bucket with a toilet seat on it.
A big Lowe's bucket.
We had to pay $1 for that.
$1 per day.
Per person?
No.
Okay.
Surely not. I don't know. I'll look at the bill at the end of this day.
When we came to this campsite, we thought it had electric and water hookups, but no toilets. And we're like, okay, yeah, we'll just pee in the woods. That's fine. And we'll use the luggable loo in emergencies.
Yeah.
And because it's also not that far from town, so if we really needed to.
We're close enough to town that I don't feel great about shoving everyone out of the small pop-up camper into the rain so I can do my business in the luggable loo. Mm-hmm. So we could do the luggable loo in the luggable,
like you
you're
can
lugging
carry
it around. Okay.
Well, I mean, I've had to do that in far worse circumstances than a luggable loo, so that to me seems a bit like a luxury. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, we thought it had water and electric, but really it has an extension cord, which you can't really run.
It's problematic when it gets that cold at night.
Yeah. We just can't heat our water for our tea and run the space heater at the same time, our single space heater that's not really working that well. Not that I'm complaining. And the water situation is a hose attached to the house, not long enough to hook up to our pop-up. So
that's why you want a Berkey.
Yeah, we've been using our Berkey. It's been working out.
So far, right now, as of this recording, not a sponsor. But if you ever want to, Berkey, you're great for camping.
They're in a tight spot.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just had something to do with the phrasing of their filters. Their filters are valid and good, but something with the phrasing and the FDA, I don't know.
This seems like it should be news that you would know about.
I've read about it, and it's been going on forever. And now,
if you keep up with the news, you got to know what's happening with Berkey right now.
Yeah, so I think they're relaunching or something, but we're actually not using a Berkey filter right now. We're using a Greenfield water system.
Well, they didn't have any Berkey filters, right? That's the thing, right? I think they do now. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Interesting.
I read somewhere they rebranded and are selling it under a different name, but then I read that place was like, no, we're not Berkey, but I don't know.
The great Berkey controversy of 2024.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we just got done with the Wellness Collective, your first really big speech thing. I mean, you've done some speeches.
Just a couple small little things, a couple churches, and...
But this is like your first, like
speaking
big
engagement.
One.
Yes,
yeah.
There were 900 people total, split between 2 days, and it was really interesting to me. I had a wonderful time. I loved it. I was so excited to meet everyone who came up and talked to me. And it's a humbling experience to get up and have everybody staring at you and wanting to hear what you have to say. I feel so blessed to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
I will say the crowds were a bit different.
From day one and day two?
Yes. And it kind of determines how you feel the speech went.
Did it kind of mess with you a little bit?
A little.
In your performance? Things are falling down around us right now.
The first day, the crowd was really warm, laughing, and Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the woods falling.
Yeah.
The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
We're apparently also sort of close to a airport and a highway, but I don't see the highway. It's busier than I thought it was going to be. We came in really late.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, the first crowd, it felt like it was more of a success.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, people were a bit more solemn.
Yeah.
Not as quick to laugh.
Did you get a little too comfortable, Emily?
Maybe.
Did you become offensive? When she gets comfortable, she becomes offensive.
I don't think I became offensive.
I'm just kidding.
But I don't know. It was just an interesting experience, and I didn't feel like the second day went quite as well as the first, which is usually the opposite. You know, like the first day is kind of warming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's all right. The people who were putting it on said it was great, loved it, wonderful. So super. I'm glad that I was able to pour into some women who were, you know, in need of some respite.
Yeah.
And just time of learning.
Yeah. Well, I saw you chumming it up with the legendary Sally Clarkson. I almost said Kelly Clarkson.
So we met Sally Clarkson, who's like the queen of homeschooling. I'm not totally familiar with her works. I have a couple of her books, haven't read them all the way through, but I have listened to her podcast. She's just a really wise woman who kind of pioneered the way homeschooling is today. And anyway, we met her the night before the event, and Jason says, I'm going to go up to her and say, because you knew this about her, that she was like really well known.
Yeah.
Liked. And you said, I'm going to go up to her and be like, so nice to meet you, Charlotte Mason.
I've heard so much about you. I didn't do it. I don't know why. I really should have. I wonder what she would have said.
I don't know. Yeah, I think she has a pretty good sense of humor, but maybe not that kind of humor.
She doesn't have the Jason brand of humor.
Yeah.
Just, okay.
So.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. And just mostly getting to meet people who enjoy our content was super awesome.
The queen of crunch meets the queen of homeschool.
So if I met you, thanks for coming up and saying hi and for coming. I hope that you enjoyed it.
And for the 3% of you who are there to see me. No. 0.3% of you there to see me.
You'd be surprised.
How's it going? The two of you.
But coming up, I also have the Cultivate Homestead Retreat. It's not too late to buy tickets for that. That's in November, the beginning of November.
That's in Missouri. Yeah.
So check that out. We'll put it in the show notes if you're interested.
Lots of cool things happening there.
The Wellness Collective was amazing. And the aesthetic of it was like very high end and beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
No detail left unthought of. Just very beautiful, like Instagram worthy for sure. Everything was perfect. The event space was gorgeous. Anyway,
yeah, which
like a movie. It felt like a movie.
Yeah,
Cultivate's a little more down home grassroots, I think.
Well, and also get your do things.
Yeah, so there's going to be like basket weaving.
Yeah.
Session on bow hunting, soap making.
Bow hunting with really very crunchy.
Hunting.
Are you going to do bow hunting?
So I'm going with a friend.
You don't really know when you're going to be there, though, and what your duties will be. No, I mean the time. Like, you don't know what you're going to be doing throughout the day. You have a vendor table and things like that. So
yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be spending a bunch of time at the vendor table.
Because there's bow hunting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I
might
go?
Just be like, no.
Oh.
It's for ladies only. Anyway, it's going to be campy. There's like times to do crafts. That's probably when I'll go to the vendor table.
Oh, not a big fan of crafts?
I love crafts. I'm not worthy to be in a craft circle of women knitting their own socks, but...
Well, no, not in a knitting circle. No, not yet.
I think, people will be doing all sorts of things. Maybe I could take some needle felting, make some little pumpkins
or little
for Thanksgiving.
That'd be fun. You should have your own session.
I am having my own session, just not about that.
It's called the keynote speaker.
So I'm really excited about it.
You should do it while needle felting your speech.
That would be an interesting take. Just like going at it, stab myself in the finger. I think there's a tree falling over there.
That's fine.
It's just like slowly falling in pieces.
Yeah, as long as it does that and not fall completely on our pop-up where our children are playing.
Yeah.
That would be bad. Not much you could do about that in that scenario either. You see the tree going, there's no time.
You know, the first night that we were camping, there was a dead tree next to our pop-up, and I kept having nightmares.
It was on a hill.
Leaning towards our pop-up. And I just kept having nightmares that it was falling on.
And it was about as thick as our pop-up.
It was a huge tree.
Yeah.
So, glad it didn't happen. I prayed a hedge of protection around our pop-up, and we were good. But I have thought about contacting the park, like, hey.
Yeah. Well, one had been cut down next to it before, so they've had that problem. When the last family was smushed, they had to cut it down. We haven't had too many spooky, weird nights yet. I remember when we've done the pop-up thing before, we've had some nights that just completely freaked us out. But
probably the coyotes, but we haven't really run into coyotes.
Could be that out west is just so vast, and you feel so isolated and alone, and everybody's kind of packed in the east.
Yeah.
Feels that way anyway. I don't feel that far from any human.
True.
Whereas out west, you could be miles from people.
Yeah.
You have that random truck drive up.
Here on the East Coast, though, what's going through my mind? Can you guess? Like, what is my fear here?
Ticks.
Oh, well, that. Yeah.
Except
that's
it's a little late in the season, but I think there's still possibly a thing you got to watch out for. But
yeah, that's a given. Well, our kid, right after the Wellness Collective, spiked a high fever, had some weird, massive rash in his armpit,
and
weird rash all over his groin. I was like, good grief. I barely brought any remedies because we're very rarely sick. And I thought, well, we're in the pop-up. Yeah, I mean, we brought a few earthly tinctures and I have some other things, but it just didn't feel sufficient to me because I don't know. I'm an action
because
person.
of Lyme disease?
Yeah, so then I started worrying.
Don't they have a D-Lyme? A D-Limer?
No.
No? We should come up with that. Would people buy a D-Limer?
Yeah, that's really impossible. Probably slightly offensive to people who have been struggling with Lyme.
I know.
Somebody did ask if there's like a mold detox, and I looked it up on the Earthly website, and there's not. So maybe we could make that.
Maybe it's really hard.
Probably really hard.
Probably way more complicated.
Probably.
Than just
very scientific.
Here's demolder.
There is one
D-Limer
out there, so maybe we'll look into that.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, what I'm scared of in the East Coast is
serial killers.
The zombie apocalypse.
I was not gonna go there.
Oh, really?
I mean, I went serial killer. I did not expect you to go there.
Well, not scariness. I don't even really believe in that, but like
not really believe in that. I mean,
anything could happen.
Well, not anything.
I don't know. Anyway, I just like you were saying, the population is so dense that this would not be the place to be.
Yeah, I mean, well, you don't want to be in Philly. You don't want to be in New York or Boston when it goes down.
And those are all so close to each other.
Yeah,
didn't realize it's
the
like
whole East Coast
an
would just
hour away from
eat each other in
yeah.
like a matter of 3 days.
Yeah,
yeah.
So.
Go out west and people are like, oh, there was an apocalypse? Cool.
But honestly, more than zombie apocalypses, more than Lyme disease, what I have the most fear from this trip is that our life is going to just be chaos when we get back. We have been living without any real schedule or rhythms or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what this is doing to our family culture.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say it's been a net positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we've gotten to do cool things. The boys have learned cool things, seeing cool things. It's been a little tough at times.
Yeah. It's been a long trip already, and we're about halfway there. So what is the difference between then a family culture and family rhythm? Because I'm kind of seeing them as the same thing. This isn't like a setup question because I know you know. Like, I actually don't know the answer to this,
and I feel like I talk about this quite a bit, and you're always like, "What is that?"
To me or on the podcast?
To you.
Oh, okay.
It's like some things people refuse to learn, like Oaks just cannot remember the word pilgrim. What did he call them? Bobbins. Bobbins.
Bobbins. Who came in the 1600s for religious liberty? The Bobbins. Try again, buddy.
Pobbins.
Pobbins. Well.
Yeah. No, I mean,
the Bobbins had their first Thanksgiving.
What's funny is that we've learned about pilgrims before.
The Bobbins, you mean?
Mm-hmm. And then, like, suddenly we're here. We're on the Mayflower replica.
The Pilgrims were led by Captain John Bobbin. So maybe that's what he got confused with. Give him a break.
Okay. So culture is sort of what defines your family. You think about, like, are we a fun family, adventurous family, musical family? What is of value to you? So what I desire for my family is that we are artistic and creative, and we read a lot, and we like to go on adventures, outdoorsy.
Sounds like you want all the above. You just named like 3 or 4, and you want them all, except musical.
No, I want to be musical, but I wouldn't say that is like what I put the most value in. Because you can't be everything. I love the idea of my children being musical, and I'm going to pursue that. But even more, I think it's important to spend time outside.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to be outdoorsy. So I pursue that. That's really my passion, probably, more than music.
I mean, we are in the woods right now.
So
doing a podcast in the woods.
Yeah, I love them learning about plants, identifying plants, and I just love that. So I think you can have several different facets to your family culture. But some families just watch a lot of TV, or some families play a bunch of board games. Like, that's not really our family culture.
No.
We have a sore loser in our family. Kind of makes playing games a little hard.
You're always talking about me. No, I'm just kidding. It is not me.
So board games do not bring a lot of joy for us.
No, certainly not.
Not at this stage, anyway. I wish that they did.
We have a history before having kids. Board games. Well, our history with board games, well, there's my side of the family, and then there was your side of the family.
Both of them involved Monopoly.
And tears.
Jason's mom made me cry over Monopoly. I don't even understand how I'm not competitive.
Yeah.
Is what's weird.
Well, that's the problem.
She was just very like.
Was it the cackling laugh at your demise in the game of Monopoly?
I ended up winning.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh.
And that it really
was it tears of joy then?
No, she made me cry mid-game. She was just not being very friendly, and I don't even know if we were married yet.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay,
breaking you in,
playing with my potentially future mother-in-law, and she's being so mean to me, but like in a funny way. I guess I just wasn't ready for it. But then you played Monopoly with my family.
See, it runs in the family.
And made my brother cry. So yeah, it's a Morrow issue.
We have a competitive streak. When we get into a game, we aim to win. Okay?
Yeah, but it's not just...
And Monopoly is the most ruthless board game there is.
It's not just
literally tear properties from families.
It's not just win. It's like kill and destroy.
Yes.
And it's like, okay.
You want to put families out on the street. You want them owing you money until you have everything. It shouldn't be called monopoly. It should be called greed and conquer.
Yeah, but you don't have to be mean. Like, my family for 20 years played Monopoly without any tears.
And I bet
ever.
it was the lamest experience in Monopoly ever.
It wasn't.
Monopolies have torn families apart. You should read about it. It's a thing.
Your family.
The ones
is something.
who are ruthless and stay together, that's when you know. That's when you know you've got a strong family bond. Monopoly
so your family
and staying
culture
together
was greed and destruction.
Not greed so much. That's just part of the Monopoly game, but destruction certainly. Yeah. Divide and conquer, and then come together as a family and talk about it. Yeah. No, I can be incredibly competitive.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going up against the right person. Did you just get a mouthful of tea?
Yeah.
Not the liquid part, but
no, my tea bag broke open, and I just pulled it out, and I was like toeing the line here with where all the tea had sunk to the bottom, and I towed it too far.
Yeah, and if you were like, hey, who could eat the most tea leaves right now? And I'd break open 3 bags and put it in there.
No, see, so when it comes to food and eating weird things, my family is far more competitive.
That's just disgusting.
My family could win.
Oh, tell us about your high school experience.
Oh, well, I just used to let my friends pay me to...
Pennies.
Quarters.
Which is just a lot of
just
pennies.
Make concoctions of whatever they wanted, and I would eat it. I mean, sometimes it got up to like $5, but like they would just mix all the leftover foods.
The higher the amount, the grosser the food.
Ketchup and...
Would you eat the whole thing or just a bite?
Oh, just a bite.
Yeah.
My dad ate a live frog for $20, so...
Yeah, you guys are in the eating game. Like, the weird things.
He'll put anything in his mouth. I mean, he loves to send pictures.
He sent a picture of a frog dangling from his mouth the other day to our kids. The frog is fine.
Can we post a picture in the show notes?
I don't think so.
Oh, I was going to say we should put that in the show notes.
I can make it the cover art of this episode.
You should. Yeah, so when it comes to food, definitely.
Okay.
But... So I just I want our family culture. The sun just came out, Jason.
This is a good episode.
A mosquito?
It's like
my face.
40 degrees out here.
Do you see that?
I do. Wow. I'm not cutting any of this out.
I want our family culture to be rich in, that cozy feeling. Like, you guys know Laura Pemberton, right?
Yeah.
The artist.
Are you talking to the audience?
I'm talking to the audience and you.
You know Laura Pemberton? Sorry, I was talking to the Luggable Lou.
Just her art style, if you look at her pieces, that's what I want my family culture to be.
Okay, I see that.
I'm wearing a quilt jacket. I'm well on my way.
What do you do with competitiveness then? Like, what do you do?
Well, there's definitely a place for that, but you don't have to be mean-spirited.
In Monopoly, you do. But I understand what you're saying. Yes, you're right. But it's not mean-spirited to want to be competitive to me. I want to go back to this idea of being really competitive. Competitive to me is not like... You don't have to be mean-spirited in order to be very competitive.
I agree, and that's what I'm saying. I'm cool with competitiveness. I just watched this reel of this dad who races his oldest son every year on his birthday to see who is the fastest, and so far he's won every time, the dad has.
Yeah.
And he's not going to let his son win, but eventually, one day, his son's going to win, But there's like this competitiveness between them, but it's a friendly competitiveness. It's not like,
well, I wouldn't race my kid.
I'm gonna spit in your face, kick dirt on you. And then like he crosses the line and he's like, hey, loser. Like, that's the kind of competitiveness that your family is.
That is not true.
Mean-spirited.
That's not true. That's not true. You have experienced it like half a dozen times. Okay?
That kind. Just half a dozen times. That's it.
Maybe a dozen. Okay? But you've been married to, that's like one a year.
Yes.
No.
I'm a competitive person, but I'm friendly. And you know what's weird about my competitiveness? Of course I want to win, but I also want you to win. So whoever wins, I'm happy.
I want the other side to be okay with losing. I don't want them to win. Unless it's like a little kid's different. I'm not saying that about our two kids. That's different.
No, I know.
Like I let them win and stuff all the time.
I distinctly remember one time you racing them out front of a restaurant, I believe.
Because they need to know
sidewalk.
that they can lose, too.
They already know they're not as fast as you, Jason. They already know that.
And I don't. And sometimes I let them win. And sometimes I don't. I'm not going to let them win every single time because then that becomes the expectation.
No, you turned
and then it's just not even a real game anymore.
And you gave an eye. I don't know. I remember the look in your face when you turned around.
It's the Morrow look.
And
it's like, it's on. Things are going to get nasty.
We're left sobbing.
Because I was so fast.
Place.
I was so fast. I beat the 5-year-old in a foot race.
And then you just cackled and ran to the car and left me to deal with it.
I'm pretty sure, actually, if we're talking about that situation, that was one where I was very frustrated with how the kids were acting.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a lot of whining going on. I was sick of it. They were like, let's race, let's race, let's race. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I just took off and then went to the car. It was more of that wasn't even competitive. That was just more of like, I'm done with this situation. I'm going to run away from it.
And let Emily clean up the pieces.
And let Emily clean up the mess left behind. Yeah. I mean, sometimes we're just done and sometimes we just got to keep running. But you know what? I mean, you've already told me I've ruined the family rhythm, so ever since I started
rhythm,
not culture. Our culture is
in development. Under development.
Yeah. Our rhythm is all but destroyed because I came home and started working from home. I ruined everything.
Saying we had a good rhythm. We had a
good thing going. You came home and you ruined it.
You would leave for work. We would eat breakfast, sit on the couch and read. The boys would play.
And I felt like I was missing out.
There was a very clear structure to our days, and we didn't even have to define them. It just happened like breathing. And then when you started working from home, I don't know, it just got a little chaotic. I wrote my book. We've talked about that. That kind of threw me for a loop, I think. And I just haven't really gotten back on track with our rhythms. We still have rhythms to our days. They just don't necessarily feel as peaceful.
They don't feel nice because you brought the Morrow spirit home with you. Should have left it at the corporate office. Probably be a VP of something by now. Or fired, which I have been. Well, okay, so then if a rhythm does get derailed, and I'm specifically talking about rhythm here because the culture is always in development, right? For a lot of people.
I mean, I think within 7 years of having a child, you should pretty well have a culture established, but it's okay to set new goals and new desires, obviously. And I think your culture can shift with intentionality, but I do think that you have a culture whether you like it or not.
Oh, that's deep.
So
everybody has a family culture. It's just a matter of what is the culture.
Yeah, defining it. So right now, I think our culture is
damp.
It's damp, but even at home,
culture is very damp right now.
It's a little more quick to anger than I would like it. It's not as calm as I see in my heart's desire. It's a little more rambunctious even, which is not something I can totally control because we do have little boys, and I want them to be boys. So, you know, there's give and take. I should be like, and something that I wish we had like wood burning stove or a fireplace that burned wood. I don't love using a propane fireplace. And to me, like part of our family culture would be sitting around the fire every night when it's cool to read, maybe sing together and pray. But I don't like using the propane.
Yeah.
Because it bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
It makes my ears hurt. It's weird. I can smell it. I know you're not really supposed to be able to smell it. So I don't love that. We do it sometimes, but not for very long. And so that kind of affects our culture.
Yeah.
I guess I could maybe be more proactive and just burn more candles or...
No, I'm getting it converted this winter.
I've tried to call so many people to get a quote, and nobody will ever get back to me. So maybe just shove a wood burning stove in there.
Not this year.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
Yeah. That's what it feels like.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Do you have a lot of jobs going on? Nah. COVID. What do you mean? That was like 2 years.
There's a museum in Philadelphia that hasn't opened up since COVID. They're just like, meh.
Yeah, COVID happened, so
nah.
We're not opening again.
Yeah, they just haven't opened.
It's a big famous museum. COVID still.
Yeah. Surely it's lingering.
We're still afraid.
Yeah.
So much fear.
The art could get it.
They are in Philly. Densely populated. I get it.
True.
They thought maybe they're afraid of the zombie apocalypse.
Looking around big cities, I mean, am I allowed to talk about COVID?
No. Oh, yeah, COVID? COVID it up. Let's do it.
I'm just saying, I would say living in a rural town, it was kind of hard for me to really be gung-ho with masks and such because I live...
There's nobody around you at all.
Even when you go to the store.
Walmart and there's it's one person per 50 feet.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's social distancing in rural towns is already a thing.
Yeah.
So you're not even thinking about it.
Yeah. So, but to go into a big city, I can definitely see
shoulder
the
to shoulder.
We went to Reading Station.
Yeah.
It was so packed. I mean, just...
Actually shoulder to shoulder.
4 people touching you at all times.
I was basically clutching my child and my wallet the whole time.
Same. I just was holding on to the tag in Oak's shirt.
Was that Terminal Market? Is that what we're talking about?
Isn't it Reading Terminal?
I don't know.
Terminal Market? Am I saying it wrong?
I thought it was Terminal Market, but it might be 2 different things.
We got a Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, it's okay.
Jason said it tasted like...
Penn Station.
Penn Station.
Not Reading Station. Penn Station.
Like the fast food.
Yeah. I like how you clarified Jason said it. Like you've never had a Penn Station Philly cheesesteak.
I've never had a Penn Station Philly cheesesteak. I've eaten at Penn Station, but I've never had their Philly cheesesteak. But now I kind of...
It's actually better than the one I had. Yeah.
The bread wasn't quite right on that one.
Well, the bread's not right at Penn Station either.
Really?
But, it's better than what we had. I just went to the wrong place, I guess.
When you have freshly baked bread and then you go to that, it's like...
Man, that's another tangent, if we may. Oh, my goodness. Okay, listen.
Food prices?
Well, food prices are insane.
Insane. You cannot go anywhere without spending $60 to $100.
There's no going out to eat anywhere with 2 adults and 2 small children. You will not get out for less than $60 if it's not fast food.
And I'm ordering soup.
Yeah.
And the children are sharing.
They're split. Yeah, it's crazy.
We don't even order from the kids menu. We will order an entree, not a big fancy entree, a regular...
I did have shepherd's pie
midline entree, and then they split it.
We're cooking most of our stuff. But
yes, but we have had to eat it. I mean, it's just...
just how it is.
It's just what it is.
I mean, when you're in a pop-up and, the stove doesn't even work. It's like...
When you're in the city, it's kind of...
Well, you're making a day trip. I mean, we're lugging around a cooler.
I guess I could be more prepared.
This is my 20. Give it to me. Yeah.
Except every time we eat out, I'm like, we're not doing this anymore. Wasn't even that good.
Well, that's
and it cost a fortune.
That's the problem, too, is that, you make almost all of the meals that we eat, and you are so good at it, and it's so delicious all the time. And I'm not even trying to be sweet. It's just the fact. It's really, really good. And then you go to a restaurant that's really, really expensive. You expect, I'm paying $70 for this. Yeah. It's going to be at least as good as home-cooked meal. Not even close.
Yeah.
Today, I said my shepherd's pie
was giving Hormel.
Hormel? Is it Hormel? Hormel?
No.
Hormel, whatever. It tasted like that from college. One of those rip open pack things that you have and you stick it in the microwave and, it tasted like that. And I liked it. Don't get me wrong. Still
what
good.
What are you saying about my cooking?
I don't like it like that. I've had yours and yours is delicious. Mine didn't even have cheese on it. I thought shepherd's pie had cheese.
No, I just do that for you, babe.
Oh, that's sweet.
I mean, it might, but yeah, I think I always put cheese on the mashed potatoes.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so you can customize the home meal. And, yeah. Anyway, I miss home. I don't want to go up to Maine.
Jason's like, let's just go home.
Kids are acting up like, we're going home.
We're going home. I'm
not a homebody either.
Fort Massac encampment is happening this weekend, which is one of our favorite parts of living in.
It's better than any fall festival we've been to on this trip.
It's better than the Living History Museum type stuff.
It's better than Williamsburg.
It is. It is.
Williamsburg is a huge deal.
It was beautiful. I loved it. So charming. But Fort Massac.
The Fort Massac encampment in Metropolis, Illinois is better. It's fantastic. And I'm sad we're not there right now.
And all the stuff is cheaper.
Should we go on vacation from our vacation to go back to the encampment?
And then come back up?
Not in a pop-up. I'm just going to fly up and get a tent. No. Sleep in hammocks.
It's hard. It's hard.
I'm so sad.
What were we talking about, Jason?
I don't know. Family culture. Now we're just sad about our trip because we're missing the encampment.
Yeah.
When are we going to start dressing up for the encampment? That's the question. I think here's the problem. I think if we started dressing up as colonials for the encampment, we would start losing the magic of getting to go to the encampment because it'll just be like, this is wet. I'm tired. I didn't sleep well.
Probably. I've been a little grouchy about the rain on our trip, just feeling kind of bummed, but the Pilgrims were on the Mayflower for 66 days, and it was only sunny for about 11 of them.
And they weren't allowed up on the deck for almost any day.
Nothing to complain about.
Well, they didn't have to come. They could have stayed in their own situation. Well, whatever.
I just think about it. There were like 30 children on the Mayflower, and they were all just like stuck down there. We think
irresponsible.
Two is hard.
I'm kidding.
30
They
children.
did not have 2 oakses and alders, like 30 oakses and alders.
I mean, you never know.
They're great kids.
I do think that we are wimps in today's society.
Speak for yourself. I'm competitive.
Like, what kind of person is like, yeah, I'm just going to take off into a new land, no plan, no house?
We just did that on this trip. We haven't had a plan this whole trip.
Yeah, but we have a pop-up. They didn't have a house.
They had a ship.
No,
a ship is way better than a pop-up.
Here's what was funny to me is when we were visiting, they said, and the merchant ship, they took it back to England and sold it for scrap. Like, as if they didn't know that was something super historic that they should hold on to. And also, they didn't let the people take the planks from the ship to help build their homes and things like that. That would have given them a nice head start. Everything's been about money since the beginning.
It's all about money. And the prices of meals are too high.
It is crazy. Today, when Jason ordered a shepherd's pie, the boys ordered a small pizza. It was basically a personal pan pizza for $14. It was little more than a cracker with cheese on it.
Yeah, I'm done. Except tomorrow because we're going to Boston.
Yeah. So
we're going to spend more money on junky food.
Supposedly.
No, we'll take food tomorrow, except.
We will take some food.
Some.
I am making dinner tonight in there. Some chicken tacos.
That wasn't dinner?
That was.
The shepherd's pie?
Dinner.
I don't.
Lunch.
See, now you have to weigh, is it worth doing dishes from a Berkey to make dinner for people who aren't that hungry?
True. Maybe we should save the chicken tacos.
I think so.
We'll have to eat something.
Well, our family culture is that of, we're nomadic by nature, but I feel like I'm losing it. I feel like I'm losing but it could be, could you please do that a little louder into the microphone? You're yawning. I don't think the crowd heard it. I'm sorry to bore you.
Nobody can sleep well in a pop-up because one person
We're tired.
One person moves and the entire thing is like, and then Oaks is dealing with some allergies, so he's snoring, which is like, what is going on? And he's not getting, quality sleep, and it's cold. Okay, no more complaining though. Nobody wants to listen to us complain.
I'm cold, I'm damp, and I want to go inside. Has it been an hour yet? What would you say, because you're the expert, what would you say to families out there who are struggling with figuring out what their family culture should be in a situation where maybe their kids are a little bit older too, and their family culture isn't what they want it to be? Their family culture is the opposite of what they want it to be. What can they do? What needs to happen?
Well, and were you going to ask this about rhythms as well? Because I do think rhythms define your culture.
Sure.
So I'd say set small goals. Start with something once a week.
What do you mean?
So if you want to be a family that sings together, declare that Thursday nights you're going to spend 30 minutes singing together. And just do it. Make it happen.
I present the Von Trapp Family Singers.
Nothing happens on accident, really. I mean, I guess some things happen. But as far as intentionality, I feel like you just have to choose it and chase it.
No one has ever won Monopoly by accident.
Well, so if you want music to be part of your family culture, you have to build it into your rhythms. And it doesn't have to be a daily rhythm. It could be a weekly rhythm. If you want to be a family that hikes together, well, you're going to have to go on hikes. You have to set aside time to make it happen. And if you really want, you have to make it a priority. And don't try to do everything all at once.
I think that's the biggest problem, is that I fall into that trap all the time. People want everything to happen all at once. When I go into something, I want to do all the things.
It goes for parenting as well. If your child has some weaknesses, some areas that need improvement, you can't expect to fix it all, because then you'll just be on them constantly and nobody's going to be happy that way. You have to choose one thing, like answering respectfully. We're working on that with our 7-year-old. I don't know where he decided to just kind of start sounding a little disrespectful with his replies.
It was that one friend. The one.
No. But so he has other things that need growth as well, but we're working on that. So never let it pass that he is able to answer in a disrespectful tone. We will address that every single time, no matter what, and practice it. And when we move past that, when he masters that, we can move on to a different area. Well, it's the same kind of thing. You can't expect your family culture to be perfect all of a sudden. You have to choose one thing. We need to read aloud more.
Yeah.
Well, sit down once a week and read aloud.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, read aloud daily, but if you want it to be like, we're going to work through this book together or something like that, not just picture books. I don't have older children, so I'm not sure what read alouds look like as your kids grow, but I would still love to be a family
maybe
that read aloud.
Hours to not necessarily allowed, but Or, I mean, I guess you just, upgrade books.
Mm-hmm. You have a bug on your face.
Ah. I felt it. Ow, that hurt.
You got it.
Did I?
Yeah. It's still there.
Smushed?
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. A little protein. Save it for later.
Unless it has West Nile on it. Oh. Ooh, it scraped off my face. Ew. Oh. All right.
So, really, in anything in life, what it boils down to is intentionality.
It really is. That's the answer to just about anything.
And I don't do it. I want to in so many areas, but you just have to be intentional. Now, what I don't know is how you change someone to fit into the culture that you want them, that you want to define for your family. Haven't figured
Seriously?
that one out.
Seriously? I'll be my own culture. I'll play Monopoly by myself.
We'll get there.
What do you want me to do?
Just be kind.
I am
just loving and kind and calm.
Get off my
and
back.
Peaceful. That's all I want.
I'm
is
fine.
It peaceful, kind, and calm.
I am.
That's exactly.
Leave me alone.
That's all I want.
I'm calm.
This feels like a joke, but there are real tensions here. This is very real. You just saw inside one of our arguments where I'm always just like, can we please just be kind and calm?
If I don't shout, my voice will not be heard.
Can we just be kind and calm? How many times have I said that in the last 10 years? Can we just be kind and calm? Kind and calm.
Thank you for listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast.
I think you can still be exuberant and yet kind.
My culture is subdued, overtaken.
I actually, no. Well, Sally Clarkson did talk about how, being the queen of your domain, you must subdue it. And subduing it doesn't mean forcing obedience or forcing change. It's
onto your husband.
Taking steps to mold your home to be the way you want it to be. So through action, through what's it called when you're the modeling. This is why I've only done one speaking engagement. So subduing something isn't forcing it. It's shaping it and molding it through small actions.
Nice. So what are you doing for me to try to mold me?
Nothing. Clearly, I haven't done anything.
No, I
sit on the sideline and say, can we be kind and
I've
calm?
been publicly called out. I hear you. I hear it.
How have you been publicly called out? It was just so funny because it felt like a real argument.
Well, I try. So here's an issue I have. My issue is mainly that when the kids are being at their whiniest or screamiest or whatever, it's usually when I'm trying to work on something or trying to finish something. And there is no concluding their issue.
So a mom once told me that it's your responsibility to leave a moment where you feel like you're about to lose it. If a child is driving you crazy because they're jumping on you and you've asked them to stop, obviously there can be discipline in there. But if you're just looking to get out of the situation, then I think one of the best things you can do, a child's jumping on you, you don't like it, stand up and leave.
Stand up, go to the other bed in the pop-up.
No. But like this morning, you got really frustrated because you were trying to post those prana mat stories that I was sharing. And I ended up doing it.
Part of it. I still got 3 of them up.
So you were having a hard time focusing in the pop-up. You could have gotten up and gone to the car and locked it.
Knowing our son, he would have followed me to the car and grabbed a stick and started hitting the window. But yeah, you're right.
I'm not saying there's always a perfect answer. I'm just saying...
You could have gotten up and gone to the other seat across from you at the booth.
No, I know.
Why didn't you crawl into the cabinet?
Doing hard things is extra hard when you're away from home.
Wow. That's profound.
Thanks.
Doing hard things is extra hard when you're far from home.
You changed it from away from home to far from home, but that sounds more poetic, so I agree.
You know. I'm a creative. I'm part of the creative culture of our family.
You are.
Thank you.
I like that.
Well, cool. I feel like I've gleaned a lot from this. What is it when it's called an episode? Episode of a podcast. I feel like I've learned a lot about myself, about you, about the prices of food, and
well, I'm glad that finally we've sat down and talked about our.
We actually only have a podcast because
rhythms.
We have to work through things.
I have been saying over and over the goals that I have for our culture and our rhythms, and you're always like, what do you mean rhythm? And then like I'll start explaining it, and then we get distracted and da-da-da, and you don't get it. So
boring. Explain it in a better way. I'm playing Monopoly. Leave me alone. I do that in my spare time. I'm kidding. What is a culture, Emily? Well, it's when... never mind.
Thank you for listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode and enjoyed seeing a little peek into our marriage.
Leave me alone!
We'll see you next time.
Bye.